Yeah. Is my screen visible to you now? Hello. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Thank you so much. Yeah. Okay. So today we're gonna be talking about handling real-time data using WebSockets. So like a lot of you guys might have started creating your own algos, and if you might have been stuck on this process, hopefully this session will make this process easier for you. Of course, in the session I'm not going to share any like codes or anything here, uh, but I'll definitely share the entire logic that I personally use for my own algos and for my own strategies. So hopefully it will be helpful for you guys. Yeah, so let's get started with it. Okay, so let me give my basic introduction first. I am Neeraj Manot, and like, yeah, so I hope you can see me. Here, yeah. Yeah, so I'm Neeraj Manot. I'm into algo trading from last 4 to 5 years now. And I was also working for a company until like 1.5 year. And now I'm working as a consultant with them. Yeah, and I myself have automated multiple strategies for myself for few of my clients, as I was also doing freelancing earlier, and then also for the company that I was working for. Yep. So yeah, then I started Matic Algos, where I was planning to teach people about algo trading and get them interested into it, because like I find it really interesting, and I myself I'm from a BBA background, but I got interested because I have gone through that cycle of like gaining a lot of money and then losing it in a day or two, right? Because of not having proper like mentality for trading in the beginning years of my career. So then I got into algo trading, and now it's been like 4 to 5 years, and I've developed a lot of algos. And personally, now I'm working on my own executions setup. Probably I'll come out with it in a few days, but I'm personally using it right now and testing it out. Yeah, so let's start with this session now. Uh, cool. So this is how your data comes basically. So this is the main exchange where the broker is connected through a lease line, probably through a lease line. And some of the brokers also have colo, but most of them have lease line set up with them. Then broker tries to read the data using like either they have XTS or Odin setup, or they also, some of the brokers also have created their own software to communicate with the exchange. Like I guess Zerodha has its own setup. Most of the brokers just use XTS Odin or Nest, I suppose, right? Then the data comes into the broker server, and through the broker server it comes into their web application, and then we as client can subscribe to this data. So if you see, there is already a lot of latency that we see, but as we are retailers and we are doing medium to low frequency, like I am specifically talking about medium to low frequency trading. So yeah, I mean, this is the entire process of how we get the data. And most of you have this doubt with respect to the data that we get. So through the brokers, we mostly get the snapshot data. So like we only get the snapshot data, to be very clear, right? So this snapshot data is basically like every 1 second we get the snapshot from the exchange, and like depending on when the broker has connected, each broker might get different snapshots. So if you compare TradingView data with let's say Fires or Zerodha or any other broker's data, you will see some difference over there, right? Uh, yeah. So, and another thing is that tick by tick data, so TBT data, that contains all the limit orders, is available to the participants who have racks in the co-location at the exchange, right? We don't get access to that. So these guys are able to see all the modifications and changes in the limit orders, specifically in the limit orders, right? So if some of you guys might be thinking that they also have access to the stop loss order, then that's not the case. You can read it out on NSE. They have written a few papers with respect to the stop loss orders as well. So the participants are are able to see your limit orders only. Okay, so yeah, so this is the entire process of how we get the data from the exchange. So after receiving this data through the WebSocket, it's our job to handle the data, right? So like, so as to make it available for our strategies and our for our own order management system to trade with. Okay, so yeah, so there are three important elements for any trading system that you might create, right? Okay, so one is the order management, second is the real time data, and then comes your strategies. Someone who has recently started with this, uh, it is okay if you like combine all of them in a single software. It works well if you just have one or two strategies, but as you scale you need to create separate solutions for each of them, right? So like, let's say you have a order manager, and you're trading through Fires as your broker, or let's say Zerodha. So they have a few API rate limits. If you have multiple strategies trading anything, right, you might come across a issue where you have crossed the order rate limit. So to tackle that, if your order placement happens through a single place, it is easier to monitor what orders were sent by your algos, and and it is also easier to manage how the rate limit is like. So let's say you can also put pause in the middle. So let's say you have placed 10 orders, then you can pause your algo for, let's say, a few seconds, and then again continue with placing your orders. So it is essential to have a separate order management system. It also allows your strategies to see what orders were passed through which particular strategy name. So let's say you have separate strategy tags, so it becomes really easy for your strategies to get the data of the orders placed through it, right? Then comes the real time data. So this real time data is basically uh, so order manager also uses the real time data, as well as strategies need real time data. So when you're placing an order from a single location, it is essential to have a real time data, because as you scale you need to check how much is the like the bid ask available in the particular script that you are trading. So if a counter is illiquid, or if the counter is at a is has reached its circuit limit, it becomes easier to not place the order and give alert back to the user through the order manager. And then the strategy part is like entirely separate. So this is the main logic that happens. Like all the logic that happens is with the strategies. It. Yeah. So from this real-time data section, you can either stream tick by tick data. So like by tick by tick, I mean is the snapshot data that you receive. Like as soon as you receive from the WebSocket, you can stream it to your strategies and your order manager, or you can just dump the real-time data into a database like Redis, or like any in-memory database for that matter. And then your strategies and your order manager can access the data through the uh, through the database. Okay, so and another thing that you can do is you can stream 1 minute data directly to your strategies. So it becomes much easier, because again, when you are fetching the data from the database, you will fetch the ticks, then you will convert the ticks into 1 minute data and then use it for your strategies, right? Instead of doing that, if directly the real time data is streamed into your strategies, as soon as you get the 1 minute data candle, you can take action on that basis. So even you can develop something similar to that. So up until this part, does anyone have any doubts or questions, or like someone also raised their hand recently? So just let me know in the chat, and hopefully you are able to understand what I'm saying. Like if someone can confirm it through the chat, it will be easier. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's get started with the main real-time data handling process. So as most of you selected this topic for today, we are going to talk about only this real-time data handling for now. So first solution for handling your real-time data is is this, like, this is a very easy solution that you can do. So right now I am talking from a perspective that you need to have a separate data processing system, right? This needs to be separated. So I'm talking from that perspective right now. If you are running, if you're running one or two strategies, you need not have this system, it is fine. But as you scale, you'll probably need to shift to a system similar to this. So this is the first solution that I came across. So this is like, once you initiate your program, you make a single connection to, let's say, your to Zerodha WebSocket or True Data WebSocket or maybe Fire's WebSocket. And as soon as you get the data, you either dump it into a in-memory database, and then your strategies and order management system can directly fetch it through the in-memory database. So in this case, your token subscription will happen in the beginning, and like you can also change the token subscription as per the movement in Nifty, or let's say you have. So this system will be perfect if you are trading with limited scripts. So you can go ahead with this particular system. And another benefit of using an in-memory database like Redis is that, let's say, you have fetched historical data in the beginning of the day in your particular strategy. So let's say we are trading in Nifty and at an interval of 5 minutes, right? So when I start my program at 9, like before 9:15 for the day, I'll fetch the previous day's data in 5-minute format and store it in the memory, in the code of that particular strategy. Then after each 5-minute time, what we'll do is that we'll go to this in-memory database and then fetch the data from 9:15 to 9:20. So then we'll take the action accordingly in the strategy. And let's say at 9:20, we'll again like so first data that we fetched from 9:15 to 9:20, we'll append it to the database, to the internal strategy database where we have stored the data for Nifty. So it will be like previous days till 3:30. Now you've gotten the 9:15 to 9:20 candle, and you appended it into the data frame where which the strategy is using to get the logic for your trading. Right. So now at 9:20, what you can do is you can again go to this in-memory database, and you can pull so sorry, what I'm trying to say is that at 9:25, what you can do is you can again go back to this in-memory database. You can get the ticks from 9:20 to 9:25 and again append it to the main Nifty data frame that you have, and then again run the logic on top of that data frame. So this process is pretty quick, and I've been using similar kind of process for the strategies in the initial time, and like few of my strategies still run in the similar format right over here. Okay, so the second solution is uh, like you can also push the data into the in-memory database. And let's say, so for the second solution, let's say you have scaled up a little bit and you want your strategies to get the streaming data, right? So if your strategies want the streaming data, you can set up publisher subscriber method. You can use Rabbit MQ or ZMQ or maybe Kafka for that purpose. So as soon as you get real-time data in your main process, you can just push it through the as a publisher, and your strategies and order management system can fetch it as a subscriber. So this system will also work if you want to publish 1 minute data, like at the end of the candle you want to publish this 1 minute data. Even that, in that way also this will work, right? And the third solution is that in the third solution you have scaled up a bit. Now you need data for multiple tokens. So for that purpose you can set up a request reply pattern, or you can with the real-time data process. So it will allow you to create custom subscriptions through your strategies and order management system. So I personally use request reply pattern through ZMQ to achieve this. So this becomes really easier for my strategies, and it also gives my strategies multiple ways of fetching data either through the in-memory database, and for some special cases it can also get snapshot data through PubSub, or even like the snapshot data as well as the 1 minute candles through PubSub directly into the strategies and OMS. So if anyone has any doubts until now, they can surely ask them. Yeah, you can store multiple strikes data. So when you're storing data in Redis, it actually so MS asked this question: how much data you can store in Redis? Will it be fine if we store 1 minute data for 48 strikes in Redis? So this is the question. Yeah, it will be actually fine. You can store multiple datas into it. It actually it depends on how much RAM you have. So let's say you have like 4 GB RAM. I think this should be sufficient. Like I think this data would be in MBs only. If you install Redis Insight, you will be able to see how much data it has actually consumed, like, and how many operations are going on at the same time. You'll get an idea of that if you install Redis Insight. Okay, so now let's move on to the next section. So this entire process is fine if you are having a uh single connection with the WebSocket, or let's say if you have a WebSocket connection only through Fires or only through, like, in a single process. If you have that, then this will work fine. But most of the times what happens is that maybe your main data stream can go down, right? So Fires or Zerodha or any other broker that you're using, they might face some downtime. So in that case, what you can do is you can add another stream. So this is how it will work. So this is the same pattern that we used. So as a client, now we are fetching data from two different brokers. So one way of doing this is, like, let's say your main feed goes down. So, so let's say your main feed goes down, then you can shift to the second stream. So that you can do. So we got this X mark here. So let's say your main stream goes down. So this one goes down. Then you can use data from this side. Okay, so then you can use the data from this side. You can either do this, or else you can just keep both the feeds alive and subscribe to similar tokens through both the feeds. So let's say Fires has a limit of 600 scripts, and through a single connection of Blaze, which is provided through IIFL XTS, you can connect to, I think, 800 tokens in a single go. So what you can do is you can fetch this feed from both the angles, and then let's say even if one goes down, you don't have to worry about it, because the other feed will still be operational. So this is one way of doing it. Yeah, so another thing that you can do. Yes, so I've copy pasted it. So yeah, so while having multiple feeds, you can either replicate your code. But what happens is that when you replicate your code, it becomes an issue because there are multiple processes which are pushing the data into the database. So you'll have to make unique connections each time while sending while sending data into the same memory database that we are using. So that is one issue that we'll be facing. And another issue is that, let's say if one of the connection is closed, you will again need to restart the process, or let's say if the reconnection is handled inside, then it is fine. But let's say if the connection goes down, then it would be an issue. And another thing is that if you use Redis, if you use threading in Python to make this work, then probably it will not work for a longer time, because threading actually creates a lot of issues when you are using WebSockets, when you're connecting to multiple WebSockets. Similarly, in the second pattern and the third pattern, it is similar for both the patterns. If you replicate the code for two separate connections, there would be an issue because uh, because like, again, the multiple executors need to be there to send data into Redis, and you will be making multiple connections to send the data, and also there will be multiple connections that will be fetching the data from the Redis. So that will create some issue down the line, and it will also add on to your latencies. And another thing that will happen is that like again, if it will be difficult to manage the connections, and let's say you are creating two separate programs for fetching the same to connecting two different brokers, then you'll need to create separate ports, like separate connections for publisher and subscriber. So at least through ZMQ, will need to create multiple connections for publisher and subscriber. That you can actually handle if you use like push pull method, that can be handled. But still, I mean, this is one of the problems that you might face. You'll need to do some additional work to make this setup work. Right. So does anyone have any doubts up until now? Like you can ask it over here. Then we'll move on to the final slide that will give you a like brief solution about the issue. Okay, so now let's go to the final slide. So this is one of the process that I have been recently doing with two of the brokers. So with two of the brokers, with two brokers, I'm doing this process right now. So one is Fires and one is with IIFL Blaze. So basically, what this structure will do is that you'll have a main process. In the previous, if you see in the previous solutions, we were directly connecting to the WebSocket through the main process, right? It was giving us less control over the connection since we were directly connecting it from the main process, right? So now what we will be doing is that we'll be initiating separate connections for each and every. So let's say I don't know if you guys have used Fires or not, but Fires uh, allows you to make three connections per account. And in each of the three connections, you can subscribe to a maximum of 200 tokens. So you can stream data of total 600 tokens through Fires. And I have an alternate feed wherein I use IIFL Blaze, where I get where I can connect to 800 tokens in a single connection. And let's say I want to connect to more tokens, I can create like separate API keys for market data, and it can allow me to connect to more tokens as I go ahead with my trading journey. Right. So this is one of the process that I came across, like a solution that I came across. So what this will let you do is that you can have a connection manager in the main process. So let me zoom it in a bit so it will be clear to you. So yeah, so you can add a connection manager. So let's say any of the WebSocket connection in the sub process, if it goes down, then the connection manager can respawn the connection, or else it can send the alert to us, like saying that this particular connection has gone down and it has tried to respawn the data through the WebSocket, but it has failed. And another thing your main process should have is a token subscription manager. So let's say your strategies or order management system subscribe to 26009, which is Bank Nifty token. Then it should have a track of what token is sent to which particular sub process. So let's say I have these two sub processes which are running Fires Fires WebSocket, and this is another process that I am using with IIFL WebSocket, right? So let's say I want to subscribe to token 26009. I'll send 26009 to these two processes, and then I'll also send it to this particular process which is using IIFL, right? So now I'll get streaming data from both these processes. So that way, let's say Fires or if IFL goes down, I can still, like, if either of one goes down, I have backup already streaming at my end. So but doing this, it will create some issue because there will be like your memory utilization will increase and you'll get a lot more data than you actually expected. This is one of the issue that you might face if you stream from both the connections at the same time. So here again, what I'm talking is that let's say these two connections are for fires. Uh, like in one of it, I'll stream 26009, and in one of the fires connection, I'll stream 26009 token, and in IFL connection, I'll stream the same token so as to have a backup, right? So what you can do is you can keep streaming, or maybe if one of it goes down, then you can pass the data from another stream. That even that can be done, but you need to have a token subscription manager so as to have a record of which token is subscribed through which connection, and if either of the connection goes down, you need to subscribe the same token through another connection, or you need to respawn the connection again, like the WebSocket connection again. I personally have faced, like in the recent days, downtime with Fires as my broker, but then I was able to get it back up in less than a minute. So that wasn't much of an issue for my strategies, at least. So another thing is that, like, any WebSocket will face some or the other downtime, so that does happen. That's not an issue. And again, if you have a main process, you can also use the request reply pattern to have more control over this main process, like which tokens you need to stream, like which particular connection you want to use. So for that, you can have custom controls using the request reply pattern. Okay, so now another thing is that there needs to be a sub process that will publish the data through that will publish and handle the data conversion for you. So data conversion, what I mean is that, let's say you want to convert the seconds data into 1 minute data, that you can do in its memory, and then you can send the data ahead to the strategies. And data publishing is like, as soon as you get the data, you can publish the data immediately using publisher and subscriber. Yeah, another thing is that the token structure and subscription method for, let's say you are using two different brokers, the subscription method and the token format and the data format will be absolutely different for both the data streams. So you need to take care of that. You need to go through the documentation properly and then check for yourself, and then neutralize it basically. So in terms of fires, we directly subscribe to a particular token directly from the WebSocket connection only. And for IIFL Blaze, what we need to do is we need to send an API call to subscribe, right? Then it will start streaming the data from the WebSocket path. So you need to read the documentations thoroughly given by the brokers, and like if not that, you need to contact their support team, or probably ask on the support on the like Python group that we have, or any other forum that you use, right? Here another thing that you need to add is a queue. This queue basically just a minute. This queue basically will allow you to manage how much data you're publishing or pushing into the in-memory database. So if you have a queue, it is easier to use Redis pipeline with it, or else you can also collect the data in the queue and then send it one by one through the publisher. Even that happens. That can be done. So in my experience while using publisher, I faced a latency of like two 20 to 30 milliseconds, and I was fine with it. Like, I didn't face much difference with respect to execution after this lag. So that worked out fine for me. Uh, yeah, so this is how currently I have structured my data processing. So yeah, let me just show you the documentation. Yeah, so this is the fires documentation. If you can see, the subscription method is kind of different, and also the uh like the order message that you get, it is different compared to like the fires documentation. Yeah, data, WebSocket, market data. Yeah, so even fires has different output for, let's say, indices data and even the depth. And if you're using fires and IFL Blaze like me, you also need to manage the index tokens for IIFL, because the format for IIFL is little different compared to uh, Fires. So let's say for Bank Nifty from Fires, the token is 26009. Like if you check the symbol master of Fires, it is 26009. And for IFL XTS, it is something like 26002 or something like that. So you need to even like go through the documentation and make sure that you're getting similar data. Otherwise you'll end up getting different data for from both the connection, and that will just mess up your entire execution system. Yeah, so let's get to the question and answers part. So yeah, I've spoken straight for 30 minutes now. If you have any doubts with respect to any of the processes that I've explained, we'll go through it one by one and then check it out. Yeah. Okay. So how much data you can store in Redis? Will it? Yeah. So I answered that already. Any comments on Python in memory database like ArcticDB or other like? So I personally just tried using ArcticDB once, but I mean, that is fine. It depends on how you are processing it. So if you use NumPy, you can actually speed up the existing Pandas setup as well. It actually depends on your strategy logic also. If you're able to code it through ArcticDB, then it will be the best solution actually, is what I believe. Otherwise, you can also use Pandas database and fine tune it a little bit. And another thing you can remember is that if you're using Pandas, and like if the data size is small, so while backtesting, this thing matters because we have a larger data set. But for live trading, we can have a smaller data set of 2 to 3 days, and on that, if you apply your indicators, the processing will happen in a much faster rate, right? So in that case, you don't need to try out other data DBs, or else you can also try out Arctic or just like anything like that. For storing data, I believe Redis is much better thing, because I just tried ArcticDB, but I found the sorted sets from Redis much better. So I might have sorry, but I might have gotten confused with respect to ArcticDB and Polar data frame. I'm really sorry about that. Coming back to this question again. So yeah, ArcticDB is fine, but in memory database solutions are much quicker compared to that. So the format in which we receive data from brokers are different. Where do you convert that to common format? That also this. So I convert it to the common format in the sub process. So let's say these two processes are for fires. Let me just write that down. Okay, fires, and this one is also for fires. So these two codes, whatever tokens it streams the data for, it will make the format. It will convert it into a standard format and send it to the main process. So I do that mainly in the sub process. Yeah, tokens are definitely different for both the brokers. I also take care of it in the sub process only. I don't do that in the main process, because in the main process I collect the data from like all the connections that we have made. So it's better to handle it in the sub processes. So can you give as a generic overview about Python trading via XTS? So for the generic overview is that XTS is fine. I mean, I am using it through IIFL Blaze. So that also works on XTS. So it has been like it has been going well for data, but for historical data, I haven't used it. For order placement, initially it had a lot of issues and lot of latency, but after they added host lookup, it has been working well for me. So this setup will work fine, but as you are using CSV files, I would suggest you to use Redis or any other in-memory database for handling your data. So that you like at least the live data you need to handle through Redis or any other solution. And let's say instead of using CSVs, you can also check out Parquet file. Parquet actually stores the data format as well, and you can read it, and it also consumes less space compared to CSV. So please check the pandas read Parquet. Like you can also save it to Parquet using to Parquet function, and like rest of it is fine. But another thing, yeah. So, and another thing, you don't need to save it in three different time frames. Like if you just save it in 1 minute time frame, you can always convert it to 3 minute and 5 minute and use it with your strategies. So even that will work out. If you get data from different brokers, which brokers do you prefer? So currently I'm using Fires as my primary broker for punching orders. But like I also use sometimes I also use IIFL. Like I'm also planning to shift to IIFL because like let's say if I get better brokerage rates, then I'll do that. Another thing is that I'm also building a solution right now for order execution, which will actually allow us to place orders simultaneously into different brokers, or let's say into multiple accounts that we have, and then you can also modify and cancel these orders, and also push orders more than your order limit. So I'm also building that, because sometimes either of the broker like can go down, right? So I can split my strategy into like half quantity in one broker and half in another. Even that can be done down the line. Like it is still in development. I've built the back end of it entirely. The front end of it is under process. So let me just show you that once. So this is the setup that I'm currently working on. It is actually in test mode right now. So these are my two different accounts, and then I have like multiple strategies going on over here, and similar strategies I can trade through the other broker as well. But it is still under development. So yeah, in solution 3, does your strategy module trigger real time data module? Yeah, in the solution 3, it actually triggers the real-time data module, because let's say you want to make a custom subscription, then it is actually helpful. So I am still using True Data at some of the places, and True Data is actually good in terms of like the data that you get. I didn't actually face missing ticks problem with True Data, although there are some issues. At times it gets disconnected, so these issues are there, but not that many. It is pretty stable also. And another benefit of using True Data is that you get tick by tick data, like the snapshot data. You can fetch it, you can make an API call, and they instantly give you the ticks. Like let's say if you have missed any data, or your connection might have gone down, then you can actually get the historical ticks from making an API call and then store it to the database. So in that sense, I found True Data really excellent. So, like, if you want to work with me in terms of developing strategies, you can contact me uh, through this, like through the Telegram, or even like Twitter. I'll also add my phone number here. Or you can also contact me on this number. So are you getting data from TrueBookers and you are storing it both the feeds in Redis? No, actually, I'm storing it with the similar key. So let's say these two are my processes for fetching the data. And after fetching the data, the main process directly pushes it to Redis and also also pushes it through the publisher and subscriber. Right. So I don't use two different keys for that. I just use the same key. And in the current setup, actually, I I have stopped using Redis also. I directly push the candle data to the strategies. Like even that can be done. Otherwise, another solution is that I have if some of the strategies need a real-time data, it directly uses the stream from the publisher and I directly use it from the strategies. Yeah, planning. Okay, understood. Understood the reason for saving it into CSV. Yeah. Can you share some detail on front end side are you using? No, actually, for the front end of my application, I'm using React, and for the backend, I'm using the Flask Fast API actually. And let's say if you are not developing a similar API like me, you can directly use the request reply pattern, or a TCP connection will work as well if you want to reduce the latency. So, like directly pushing the candle into strategy means you can stream. Basically, I mean is stream the candles into the strategies. After converting the candles in the memory of this particular main process, I can stream these candles to the strategies. Also, another thing, if anyone wants to talk, you can raise your hand. I can make this. I can allow you to speak. Like if anyone has any doubts with respect to this, you can also raise your hand. I can allow to talk. Yeah, I've allowed you to speak, MS. Yeah, I'll check out this
Okay.
article. Prasant G. Gupta. Yeah.
Can you hear me, Neeraj?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. First of all, thank you for scheduling this session. This is
Yeah.
useful.
Yeah. Thank you.
My question is regarding about this streaming the data directly to the strategy. So I have made a module where I'm getting the data right through WebSockets. Now there are 3-4 strategies uh, that is using that that data. So what I'm doing right now is that taking the data, storing it in Redis, and all three strategies have subscribed. Pull the data from Redis and act on that. Now, when you say directly push the data to strategies, I did not get that part.
So this is like another solution that you can use. So what you will be doing right now is you are storing the ticks into the Redis, right?
Mhm.
Correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Now you when it comes to your strategy, you are fetching, let's say, 1 minute data, only 1 minute ticks from your Redis setup, converting
True.
these ticks into 1 minute data, and then using it in the logic section, right?
Right.
So instead of doing that, you can omit this process by directly creating a publisher of 1 minute data, and you can
Okay.
stream that 1 minute as soon as the candle closes. You whatever 1 minute data it has collected, you can push it to the strategies, and when the strategies receive this data, it will take an action on top of it. So the
Okay.
process that you're using right now, it is fine. It will work out. It will definitely work out. Even in most of my strategies that I've developed before, we I was using the similar process where I'm storing the text in Redis and then using calculating 1 minute data in the in the strategy. So I've been using that. That is why I suggested you that solution. It has worked great for me. But now I'm also exploring this other option, because instead of computing the entire candle in like in each and every strategy, I thought let's stream the candle data, right?
Right.
and
Yeah,
and
makes
then
sense.
append it, and I'll only take an action when I have the candle with me.
Okay. Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, any other doubt? Anyone else does? If you have any other doubt, please raise your hand. So anyways, these are my contact details. If anyone wants to get into touch, please let me know. Also, if you have any doubts, you can always ask on the Telegram group. Either me or anyone else in the group who has experienced that or who knows the solution to it, they will definitely help you out, right? I mean, if we help out each other, then only we'll will learn, right? We'll all learn new things through that. So yeah, if anyone has any doubts, please let me know in next like 2 to 5 minutes. Then we'll end the session. Bro, about the infra, what doubts do you have? I mean, it is actually another vast topic to cover. So yeah, I mean, it will be better if we cover it in the next session. But like, what doubts you have? It actually differs. You can just use 4 GB server. It will work fine if your scale isn't that big. You can just use 4 GB RAM server, or like a Linux server will work out in that case. I don't have much knowledge on the server side, but for my personal consumption, I'm using two 4 GB RAM servers through Linode. Anyways, I guess no one has any additional doubts. Thank you so much, guys. It was nice connecting with you. And again, if you have any doubts, you can put it up on the group. We can have a discussion over it. Definitely. All right. So let's close the session if there are no additional doubts now. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for connecting.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye bye.